Alright guys, so today we're doing a little bit of science, okay? So, over the weekend there was a disqualification at XDA that caught a lot of attention. There's a lot of people calling cheaters, so on and so forth. So, if you know me, you know I'm not the biggest fan of Chris Moore, but, in his video release, his short, he explained why he believes that he failed for spec gravity on M5. So this is a fresh can of M5. This is poured directly out of the can, and we're going to get the spec gravity. Now, this is not a tester specifically for specific gravity. It's a nitromethane percentage tester, but it'll give me a baseline to compare to fresh out of the can. And then I'm going to take a HDPE high density polyethylene container, same one he uses, same one a lot of us use, and I'm going to put a bunch of M5 in it, and I'm going to go set it out in the Alabama sun for the remainder of today. It'll be about 5 hours, and just let it bake. I figured that's comparable to a super hot day in a plastic container at the track. It's a rough comparison. I don't know exactly how long he had it in the container. If he'd like to reach out and let me know how long it was in the container and so on and so forth, I'll make this real scientific. I'll get the right spec gravity meter to tell you the specific gravity of it and so on and so forth. But for now, we're just going to use a nitro hydrometer. So, let me get you all set up here so you can see what we're reading. So this container is going to overflow. I put too much in it because, well, it ain't going to hurt anything. As you can see, this is a Brady Instruments nitromethane percentage hydrometer. Yep, and I just made a mess. I knew I was going to make a mess. And we are reading a specific gravity of, it is dead level with the top of that thing, hold on. It appears we are at the third mark. Yes, we are dead on the third mark. For those who are curious of the authenticity of this device, this is a Brady Certificate of Conformance, certifies that the instruments CH3N02 have been tested and calibrated against standards number 126994 that is traceable to the National Institute of Standards and Technology. So this is and this was 10 or 24, so it's a fairly new device. So we are at 3% on the nitro scale. Now I know it's not nitro. It's a completely different chemical, but it reacts very similarly and shares a lot of the same SDS with nitromethane. Now, nitro is proven to respond, or to be highly reactive to high-density polyethylene plastic and causes the spec gravity to swing. Whether the chemical in here is, I'm not entirely sure. I got to pull up the chemical and get the specifics, but from what I was reading of the SDS, it is less reactive, much less reactive. But in any case, let's run the test. All right, and we have the same container all of us use, right? It's very dirty on the outside, ignore that. I'll wipe it off if you want proof, but it's clean on the inside, and this is HDPE high-density polyethylene plastic. Same container almost all of us use at the track. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this outside. It's got a well-sealed chemical-resistant lid on it that is good for nitromethane. And this is methanol M5. Fresh out of that can, just took it out. So I'm gonna go set this in the sun and we'll get a test later. I'm gonna make sure the temperature is the exact same when I test it. Now that was 68 degrees. I didn't show you the thermometer, but it was 68 degrees when I did that test. So we're looking for 68 degrees when we do the test following up. So while we're on the subject, there goes my new employee, of this thing being in this container, something that needs to be taken into account is bloat. And how many times he would have had the lid on and off with warm fuel. So we're going to treat it as if he's, poured a little out, lid's been off, fumes have been out of it, and see if that is also a part of the equation, because I have a feeling that's more of the equation than anything. I have a feeling the evaporating methanol is a larger portion of the equation than the plastic container. So taking this into a lesson, M5 and nitro, funny fuel, whatever you want to call it, we all know what we're mixing in that shit, is temperature sensitive. So if you've got a bike with a fuel cell under the tank shell, you should probably not keep fuel in it. So if you're at the track and you're racing, I've tuned your bike on the dyno for nitro, you should probably drain that fuel cell between runs. Keep a container. I'm going to be switching to suggesting people use glass or metal cans in your trailer or in a cooler, somewhere coolish, because the temperature, keep it cool. I suggest if you got the ability to push your bike up to the lanes, to push it up there with nothing in the cell and fill it up before you go up to do your burnout. That way you get the coolest fuel you can, because that's the densest fuel you'll get. In any case, we're continuing on. We're an hour in. Alright guys, so we got our M5, been sitting out in the Alabama sun all day in plastic. Now this is an extreme version of the situation. His was sitting in a trailer in the heat. We're going to see what we get for spec gravity on this. It is in, like I said, HDPE, same container he was using. So, and it is the same temperature as the other.
That 100% is a HDPE.
Yep. I'm curious if the spec gravity changed. Does that make a mess again? And it's dead nut. Same exact reading. No change. So, what this boils down to is this. M5 does not contain nitromethane, it contains nitroparaffin. So, nitromethane is extremely reactive with HDPE containers, right? Extremely reactive. It will throw the spec gravity way out, it'll absorb the plastic, it just screws everything up, it makes it brittle, makes it swell. So, nitro, yes. M5 has nitroparaffin in it, which is stable in HDP in short durations, right? Now, you leave it in there a month, you're going to see spec gravity changes. But as far as a day, 2 days, it ain't going to throw your spec gravity out that far, boss. So, my end opinion, that was hot fuel. It had nitro in it.